data. My spreadsheet's so fine, makes me feel complete when I type the equal sign.
You didn't think we were done with the WTC, did you? Well, there's some more data, and I may have made a spreadsheet. So let's get into it and talk about the sticky situation when we look at average team rating to performance at the WTC. Uh, Clickbait title: Does team skill matter? Hashtag War Machine, hashtag like and subscribe, all of the things. So we're going to get into it. We are going to look at work that I've done, looking at all of the teams, entering all of the individual player ratings as displayed on Longshanks on 11/1/2025, correlated to the event. And we're going to throw a whole bunch of caveats in here because number one, we're looking at Longshanks data and we're looking at a singular event. We're looking at a team event, all of which skews the data in ways that make it a little hard to draw certain conclusions, but we're going to go under some general assumptions. First and foremost, the rating in Longshanks is not a true correlative for player skill. We are going to use it as a very, very loose approximation for a term that I am calling player engagement. Meaning, generally, if you have a rating, and there were several players at the WTC that does not, um, you likely have been engaged with the wider meta and have been utilizing Longshanks for events. Not every country does this. Not every local meta does this. Doesn't mean the players aren't engaged. Doesn't mean the players aren't with it or hip or any of those types of things. It does mean that they don't have a rating, and therefore, in the aggregation of the data, um, they are not connected to the wider community for one reason or another. Maybe they're utilizing a new tag because they forgot their old one. Maybe this is their first event coming back. Always a possibility. Totally fine and amazing to see at an event like the WTC. So again, rating is not a ranking of player. Rating is simply a calculation that Longshanks does based on a variety of variables. We are using it here because generally player engagement and this correlate fairly well with each other. Doesn't always work perfectly, but what it brings about when we look at the data in this way and we look at it from a team perspective, so we aggregate it from the individual level to the individual on the team level. So we take all 5 scores, we add those together, and we simply divide by the number of players, which is 5. And that gives us our average rating for the team. We then use this as an approximation for teams that have a higher general engagement than the other teams for this event in this thought experiment where we're going through the data. We have found a couple fascinating things in going through it. Number one, generally, the ranking that these teams ended up with at the end of the event, meaning their placement at the end of the event, correlated very closely to overall team uh, overall team engagement, or this team average rating. It was not perfect, however. That stated, there are very clean explanations within the data for why these variances occurred. Mostly, what we were seeing is that teams that underperformed their expected placement, and that just means if we were to go purely by team average rating being the measure by which we would assume this would land, the variance that we see is explained nearly entirely by teams losing to teams that losing to teams in rounds where they had higher rating average than the team that beat them. So they had a quote unquote bad loss. And when you had several bad losses, your variance became very high. And when you had several good wins, i.e., you beat a team that had a higher average rating than you, good things happened and you placed higher than sort of your expected. And we're going to go through that data now. Wanted to talk through a little bit of the methodology, a couple of other things that we saw in the data. There were relatively few 5-0s in this event for a team. So meaning in the round, the team went 5-0. There was a total there was a total of 9 5-0s. 8 of those, the team with the higher TAR, team average rating, beat the team with the lower average rating and they 5-0'd them. Meaning every member of their team got a win. Every member of the higher rated team got a win. There was a singular instance where the lower rated team, on average, the lower TAR, beat the higher rated TAR, which is Frederick Banting. Frederick Banting had a fantastic 5-0 over France Chatrou. I'm sure I'm saying that completely incorrectly, but they had a very strong showing over France Chateau, and that gave them they had a 5-0 there, and that helped them have a very strong differential. So looking at it in this way, we get some really interesting and cool concepts that I want to go through here. So again, pretty interesting that most of the 5-0s came when the higher rated team faced a lower rated team. But not every one of those resulted in a win. In fact, for the tournament, there were 21 losses that occurred when the higher rated team, and again, this is team wins. There were 21 team wins for the lower rated team over the higher rated team, which is pretty fantastic to see. Again, going through the data, there were some very good wins by teams, and there were some pretty unexpected losses. So let's talk about it from a overall placement perspective. So if we use this as a nomenclature for expected positioning, what does that do to us as a whole? Well, it's pretty interesting. At the top of the house, at the very top of the peak, there's nearly a 1-to-1 with a little bit of variance. Paddington and USA Condor were separated by 2.4 points in terms of their average team rating. Condor was 610.6. England Paddington is 608.2. So England Paddington had a win over a higher tar team, and in that win, they beat Condor, and that secured them the 5-0. Even though that was the round before Walpertinger, because Walpertinger they rated higher than. So Walpertinger was an expected, again, in our thinking for this thought experiment, which is if this is a true correlation for relative engagement on the team, we would expect that there wouldn't be too extreme a variance that couldn't be explained by a lesser team beating a higher team by an upset, because upsets happen. It's one of the beauties of sport. And so in this, we see a couple more things. So there at the top, again, the 3 highest rated teams in the event were indeed the 3 teams that placed 1, 2, and 3. Their ordering was not exact to their placement. There was a variance of 1. So Condor was down a slot from its expected, and Paddington was up a slot from its expected. Walpertinger was exactly where we thought it would be based on this. If we use this as a measure, it was third, and it indeed was third. So 0 variance. When we go to Poland Ard overperformed. Poland Ard expected placement based on overall rating would have been 8th. They were in 4th. So a +4 variance here. So fantastic showing by Ard. They played very well and landed above where their rating would suggest they would land. Canada Terry Fox, again, direct to the numbers. They were the 5th overall by average, and they were the 5th overall in placement, so 0 variance. We get to 6th place, we see a big variance. We see England's King's Cross overperformed by 5 places. So they came in 6th. Their expected based on rating would have been 11, and they came in 6th. So they are +5. So they had a very good tournament. Also having a very good tournament, Australia Numbats. Based on where we would expect them to be, they had 2 wins over teams that were higher rated than them coming in. We would have expected them in 9th. They ended up in 7th, so 2 spots to the good for them. But the 2 wins over teams, or the 2 round wins over teams with higher rating, good on them. Fantastic. Norway Munin. Norway Munin, also a little bit of an overperformer based on rating. We would have expected them in 12th. They ended up in 8th, so a +4. USA Bison, big underperformer. Based on overall rating, Bison would have been expected to be 4th. They ended up in 9th, so -5 for USA Bison. Pretty strong underperformance. Still a top 10 finish, but definitely not what Bison was capable of. Again, based on player engagement. Similar story for USA Jackrabbits. USA Jackrabbits, we would have expected a 6th place finish. They ended in 10th, so -4 there. So again, pretty big variance, bit of an underperformance. Still a great tournament. Anytime you go 3-2 at the WTC, it's no mean feat. It's very difficult to do that. Placing in the top 10 of this event, also very difficult to do with a 32 player field or 32 team field. But a little bit of an underperformance based on overall player rating. Similar story for Sweden York. Sweden York in 11th place. We would have expected them based on rating to be in 7th. Again, a -4 underperformance there. So a bit of an underperformance by Sweden York. I'm sure Sweden York probably feels the same way. But great tournament to them as well. And again, no naysaying here. This is just correlating this data together, seeing what emerges, and so far some pretty interesting bits. Talk about your overperformers. Let's talk about Italy Phoenix. Italy Phoenix was definitely one of the darlings of this tournament. Italy Phoenix was 3-2. They ended up in 12th place. If we looked at it strictly from player rating, we would have expected them in the 23rd spot. They ended up in 12th. 11 points, 11 positions of overperformance. The biggest mover of the tournament in a positive direction. So absolutely hats off to Italy Phoenix. Fantastic showing. Same thing for Belgian Draft. Belgian Draft was in 13th place, 3-2. 2 wins. I'm sorry, 2 wins over higher rated team for Italy Phoenix, 1 win over higher rated team for Belgian Draft. Ended up in 13th. Would have been expected to be in 24th overall based on average rating. 11 places above engagement. Fantastic result for both of these teams. Should be very proud of their accomplishment, again based on this super arbitrary metric. Finland Morco, very strong team this year, ended in 14th place. Based on their overall average rating, we would have expected them in 10th. So down 4 positions from there. A little bit of an underperformance. Still a great showing. Still a top 15 finish. But obviously, I think they had designs in the top 10. And a little bit of an underperformance. Just a little bit of underperformance based on the metric. Overperformance to Canada, Frederick Banting. Frederick Banting, great tournament, ended in 15th place, 3-2. 2 wins over higher rated teams. A 5-0 over a higher rated team. The only 5-0 over a higher rated team in the tournament. Fantastic job by Frederick Banting. Frederick Banting in 15th place. Our expected for them would have been 19th based on the metric. +4, so 4 positions better than expected. Fantastic result. England Excaliburs, 16th overall in the actual. Their expected based on our metric would have been 17. So 1 position better than expected. Fantastic job. Sweden Fenris, 1 position worse than expected. They were in 17th place. Our expectation would have been 16th. Based on the metric, so a -1 there, a little bit of an underperformance. Germany Eierlichter, one of the early teams that we got to see on stream. Very strong team, 18th overall. They ended up, or we would expect it based on their rating to be in 13th place. So -5 from where they were. A little bit of an underperformance. 2 and 3. 2 and 3 always feels like a bit of an underperformance at the WTC, especially when one of the losses was to a team that you had a better overall rating than. But those are the breaks. That's how these games play out sometimes. But a bit of an underperformance, bit of an overperformance here though by Austria Legacy. Austria Legacy 2 and 3, 19th overall. One win over a team that outrated them. Their expected based on rating, based on our metric, would have been 26th. They were 7 spots better than that in the 19th spot. So very nice showing by Austria Legacy there. Poland Igni. Poland Igni, based on rating, would have been, ended up in 20th. Based on their overall rating, we would expect it 18th. So a 2-spot downgrade there within the margin of error. But a very good, decent performance, a little bit of underperformance. Australia Kookaburras, based on placed at 21st in actuality. Based on overall rating average, we would have expected 20th position. So within a spot of where they were supposed to be, just one to the negative. So a little bit of underperformance. Belgian Blue White were 22nd overall in actuality and were 22nd overall in the correlation. So exactly where we would expect them to be. In Finland Hasu, based on our metric, we would have expected them. They were in 23rd. We would have expected them in 21st. They had 2 losses to teams that were lower rated than them. They were a -2, so a little bit of an underperformance, explained by their losses. Sweden Samir, one game over a team with a higher rating than them, one game lost to a team lower rated than them. They were 24th overall. Our expectation based on their overall rating would have been 30th, so right toward the bottom. They were 6 spots better than that. So fantastic job. Great work there. Netherlands Pancake was 25th overall in actuality. They would have been, based on their ranking, would have been expected to be in 27th. So 2 spots better than expected. The sadness of the tournament, Italy Gladiators and France Satou. Italy Gladiators ended up in 26th overall. 2 losses to a team that was rated lower than them on the average. One was a 5-0 sweep. In that instance, their expected would have been 14th overall. So based on the fact that we're 26th, this is a -12 difference, which is tied for the largest variance of the tournament, which goes to France to 2. France to 2 ended up in 27th overall, 1-4. They had 3 losses to teams that had lower overall average than them in terms of the rating. Their expected result would have been 15th. They were, again, 12 spots worse than that. So a bit of an underperformance by France too. These are the ones where it explains it quite a bit. You've got some pretty highly rated overall teams. They did not have a good record there. We're going to go ahead and take a little bit of a deep dive as part of this episode as to why these things occurred. But we want to get through the remainder of the difference. We don't have too much more to go. Denmark Brave. Denmark Brave 1-4, 28th overall. Based on their overall rating, we would have expected them to be the last place team in 32nd. So they were 4 places better than that. Phenomenal job to stay out of the absolute basement. France Assurance, and some extra syllables, was 29th overall in actuality. Had one loss to a team that was an underperformer to them. One other note on Brave, on Denmark Brave, they did have a win over a team with a higher rating than them, which helped get them into the position that they ended up. France Assurance, one loss to a team a little bit worse than them. They ended up in 29th overall. 25th would have been our expected based on this metric of TAR. So a -4 differential. So bit of an underperformance there. Portugal based ended up in 30th. Based on our metric, they had one win over a higher rated team. Based on our metric, we would have expected them to be in 31st. They were in 30th, so one to the good. Denmark Little Mermaids, a little bit of underperformance, 1-4, but one win to the good of a team, or with a team over a team that outrated them. They were in 31st. 29th overall is where we would have expected them based on our metric. So 2 spots to the worse. And then Norway Hugen, 32nd overall in actuality. 2 losses to lower tier teams, or lower rated teams, based on the TAR. Their expected position would have been 28th. And then the difference was 4 places, so a -4. So a little bit of an underperformance there. So that is the gist of this, but I want to take a little bit of a dissection into Italy Gladiators and France Satou's losses with their big variance, and I want to take a look at Italy Phoenix and Belgian Draft, with their little bit of an overperformance. So those are the ones that we will take a look at next as we get into it. So starting off with Italy Gladiators, round 2 into Poland Igni. There's about a 30-point difference in terms of the average team rating, or average team rating here between the two teams. So Italy Gladiators with a 536, Poland with like a 502 is how it sort of works out in the numbers. So looking at the matchups, we have a McCoy versus Vargas match for Gravediggers. We have a Dusk House Callus into Shadowflame Shard. The scenario was Wolves. We have Old Umbry Reznikova into Helith. We have an Aviserys into Kane 4. And we have Serinia Final Interdiction into Brianblood's Ragemonger. In the Gravediggers game, Vargas was able to take it. Vargas went first on the Wolf scenario, winning 3-0 with 46 army points to no army points for McTavish, and no scenario points, winning on scenario in that one. In the Dusk Shadowflame Shard matchup, Poland went first again. The Shadowflame Shard player won on scenario, winning 12-5. 36 army points for Dusk, 50 army points for Shadowflame Shard. And then in the clincher, Reznikova of Old Umbry, losing 3-9 on scenario to Helith. Helith winning 9 scenario points and 51 army points to Reznikova's 3 scenario points and 17 army points on the Wolf scenario. Travis picking up a win for Italy Gladiators. Eviscerus over Kane 4. Sort of a ideal pairing for Travis there in terms of what Eviscerus is designed to see and play into. 5 scenario points to 2. Travis with 8 army points. Kane for 2 scenario points, 48 army points. And then final interdiction Cyrenia picking up another win for Italy. 17 scenario points to 12 scenario points on the Brine Blood side. 58 army points to 60 army points on the Brine Blood side. But Poland Igni able to overcome and take the scenario. Take the round via scenario. All games decided via scenario on Wolves. And really, to me, the game that is sort of the real decider here is this Gravediggers on Gravediggers match. This is one of those that could have gone either way. One of those quote-unquote coin flippy games. It was very tight by the looks of it. Looks like Vargas was able to out-attrition McCoy a little bit, and that seemed to be the deciding factor within the game. Again, not having any knowledge other than what we can glean from War Table, or sorry, not from War Table, from Longshanks. And looking at that matchup, Vargas definitely seems the better drop into the two. But that was the first of the 3 upset losses for Italy Gladiators. On to the Italy Gladiators into Sweden Saminer. I know I'm butchering that. I apologize. This was another 3-2 round, so very tight round. No blowout losses here for Italy Gladiators. But from a matchup perspective, we have Sweden's Kythos going into Italy's Helith. We have Sweden's Brineblood Ragemonger going into Travis's Eviscerus. We have Sweden's Wintercore Vilkul going into Final Interdiction Cyrenia. We have Italy's Gravediggers going into Shadowflame Shard with Lilith. And then we have Italy's Old Umbry with Reznikova going into Storm Legion's Huxley. In the Kythos Helith matchup, Kythos taking the best laid plans via scenario, 8-5, 49 army points for Kythos, 38 for Helith. Fairly tight match there. Kythos just able to utilize that feat to overcome Helith's ability to correct for it. In the Ragemonger Travis Marg game, Travis taking the win via assassination, being down scenario and army points, but able to pull out the scenario victory, or able to pull out the assassination victory. Um, but the Swedes taking it right back with Vilkul pulling off an assassination on Serinia. 10 army points, just the caster. No scenario points scored. Just Vilkul getting to Cyrenia and doing what Vilkul does. In the Lilith versus Gravediggers match, we had Jake's into Lilith. Jake's winning via concession 85-7 in a concession. But in the decider, Huxley assassinates Reznikova. No scenario points scored in best laid plans, just the 10 points for the assassination, army points and the assassination to Huxley over Reznikova, sealing the win for the Swedes. So a lot of heartbreak losses in these for the Italians, for Italy Gladiator. It looks like in these really tight rounds. Where they lost it, and then in their first round into Eirlichter, uh, based on our assumption here, which is that rating will track to performance. This would be an expected loss. It was a very tight game, again, 3-2 in the round. Very tight round, 3-2. In this one, it was the Germans versus the Italians. It was the start of their day. You had Gravediggers for the Italians going into Storm Legion. You had Dusk Helith going into Sexy Thexus on Dark Operations. You had Travis's Avicerus going into Gravediggers for the Germans, into Jake's. You had Final Interdiction Krios 2 going into Brianblood's Ragemonger. And you had Reznikova going into Dusk Helith. In the first game, won by concession by the Storm Legion player. Storm Legion player playing Calder, 8 scenario points to 3, 53 army points, and 23 points for Gravediggers and the Italians on the army points side. In the second game, an assassination loss for Helith. Thexus getting the assassination on Helith. Scenario was Payload. Thexus with 5 scenario points, 41 army points. Helith, 5 scenario points, 56 army points. In game number 3, it was Travis into Jake's. He was playing Avicerus. Thomas was playing Jake's with Gravediggers. Travis wins on scenario 9-4, 48 army points for Travis, 23 for Thomas. And then for Final Interdiction, Krios taking the win via scenario for the Italians, 8 control points and 39 army points to 5 control points at 19 army points for Ragemonger. And then in the decider, Reznikova coming up just short on scenario to Helith. Helith winning 3 scenario points and 22 army points to Reznikova's 0 scenario points and 15 army points. So in revealing the tail of the tape, definitely looks like Italy Gladiators was just the Heartbreak Kids. Bunch of close rounds, the three super close rounds with really small decision factors playing in. Variance is part of every tournament. Variance is exacerbated in an event like this, where skill level is so generally close. Where you're playing at such a high level, there's a lot of pressure, there is a lot of travel, there's time zone considerations, all of these things. It just make it difficult overall. And, you know, one little thing, one way or the other, really changes the course of your tournament. If something goes differently in that first round against Irelichter, Italy Gladiator is probably having a wonderful run just like Phoenix did. So it's little small things in the tournament that really kind of determine everything. But it's interesting to utilize this metric as something where we can use it to see where there's interesting points of data for us to dig into uh, and see what we can ascertain. So on to France Sotomatax. They had pretty interesting tournament overall. Um, very high skill team, very highly rated team. Ran into some trouble very early. In their first round, they had England's King Cross. King Cross beat them 4-1. And as those matchups played out, it was on payload. We had Grimkin into Grimkin Wanderer into Shadowflame Shard Shyrus. We had Shadowflame Shard Shyrus into Dark Operations Kythos. We had Storm Legion Huxley into Brinebloods Shadowtongue. We had Gravediggers McCoy into Dusk House Callus Helith. And then we had Harusk into Ravens of War, Krissa. As it played out, a bit of a disappointer for France. So England taking game one via Deathclock, Wanderer over Shyrus. In second game, Dark Operations Kythos able to get it done on Deathclock into Shyrus on the other side. On to third game, we got Huxley into Shadowtongue. Huxley taking it down for the for King's Cross over the Brinebloods via assassination. Huxley 51 army points, 4 scenario points. Shadowtongue had 8 scenario points at that point and 29 army points. McCoy and the Gravediggers getting it done for King's Cross over Helith via assassination. 33 army points, 4 scenario points. Helith had 12 scenario points, 55 army points at that point. 2 assassinations here, and when France was up on scenario, just pulling the game out of the jaws for King's Cross. Wow. And it just sort of changes the trajectory of France's whole tournament. Ravens of War got worked on scenario by Harusk. Krissa losing 17-6 on scenario, 87 army points for Harusk, 29 army points for Ravens of War. Just a really strong showing by Harusk in that particular round. And this was one where France was slightly favored based on rating, and King's Cross was able to get a 4-1 victory on the whole, fantastic job by them. Belgian White took them down in the next round. France Châteaumas getting worked by Belgian White 3-2. Again, another series of tight games here. We had Helith into Storm Legion, Calder. Helith losing on Scenario on Wolves, or sorry, Helith losing on Deathclock on Wolves. Was down on Scenario as well. 3. I'm sorry, Helith was up on Scenario, 6 Scenario points to 52 Army points. Kane 4, or sorry, Calder, rather. This is Calder. Won the game with 3 Scenario points, no Army points, but 1 on Deathclock because Helith clocked. In the second game, Infernals able to work Scenario over the top of Ravens of War with Lilith. 1, 13 Scenario points to 6, 57 Army points for Zadesh, 70 Army points for Ravens of War, or sorry, for Zadaroth, not Zadesh. Zadaroth is an Infernals match. In the third match, Brine Bloods and Shadow Tongue winning via assassination over Old Umbry Reznikova, with the French taking the victory. No Scenario points on either side. 10 Army points for John Foster, getting the win via Scenario over Reznikova and the Old Umbry. Quentin taking it down for France via Scenario, 18 Scenario points, 89 Army points over Kyrax on Shadowflame Shard with 7 Scenario points and 16 Army points. But in the decider, the always slippery Lionel lost with Shyrus on Scenario 5-9 into Brine Bloods. Shadow Tongue taking the victory for the Belgians. 9 Scenario points to 5, 63 Army points for Shadow Tongue to 56 for Shyrus and the French. So bit of a heartbreaker there. Belgian Blue-White also rated lower than the French team on the aggregate, and a loss there. Then we had Frederick Banting into Chatamatics, and the French obviously feel like they might have been a little distraught here, and Canada just took it to them, 5-0. Canada just owning every single matchup. The way it played out, bit surprising though. We had French Dark Operations into Storm Legion Huxley. That was a win on Assassination for Huxley. 2 fronts was the scenario. Huxley with one scenario point to 3. And Siphon was the caster that was assassinated. 3 scenario points to, and 10 army points for in that one. In the second game, it was Old Umbry Aslanov into Shadowflame Shard Shyrus for the French. French losing that on Deathclock with the Old Umbry player up 2 scenario points. In the third game, it was Ravens of War Lilith into the Canadians. playing Siphon and Dark Operations. Dark Operations winning via Death Clock. The Dark Operations Siphon player was up 20 scenario points, 84 army points. The Lilith player had 14 army points and 54 scenario points. Game 4 also went to Death Clock, going to Infernal's Zadaroff and the Canadians. At a deadlock, 4-4. John Foster and his Brian Bloods under Thorga taking 110 army points off of Zadaroff, being at a scenario deadlock and losing on Death Clock. What a heartbreaker. Wow. Just phenomenal game. But definite heartbreaker. And then in the final match, we had the Canadians, Gravediggers, running McCoy into Duskhouse Callus, Helith. McCoy winning that, running away on scenario 11-2. 29 army points for McCage, 47 army points for Helith. And Frederick Banting just having a day into France. On day 2, France was able to scrape together a win over Portugal, winning 4-1. And then their reward was to play Sweden Fenris. And in that match, they lost 4-1. There was a Shirus Shadowflame Shard Mirror. In that, the Swedes won on Death Clock, 9-10. 22 army points, 39 army points. But the Swedes winning on Death Clock. In John Foster's match, or John McForrester's match, he played Thorga into Lesnoy for Old Umbry. Old Umbry winning that on Death Clock, 13 scenario points to 11 scenario points, 78 army points for Lesnoy, 33 for Thorga. In the third match, it was Ravens of War, Krissa, going down on assassination to Vilkul and Wintercore. Wintercore winning that 7 scenario points to 8, 53 army points to 40 with the assassination. Kythos picking up the lone win for France this round over Aslanov and the Old Embry for the Swedes. Kythos winning 1 scenario point to 2, 18 army points to 6 via assassination. And then Orgoth getting the assassination over Helith on trench warfare. 2 scenario points for Harusk to 5 for Helith. 28 army points for Harusk over 36 army points for Helith. Winning over Helith via assassination. And thus ends France's run. Again, another tale of heartbreaks where nothing went right for France Sotomax. They had a very rough tournament, and very evident why their differential or their diff is where it is from what would be our expected based on the metric. On to our other side of the house, where we're looking at Italy Phoenix and Belgium Draft, who had 11 spots up to the good and overperformance. All right, on to Italy Phoenix. Italy Phoenix was 3-2. They overperformed their expected based on our metric of TAR by 11 positions. So I want to talk about sort of their path to victory and where they picked up 2 wins over teams that outrated them. So they beat England Brave Tin Soldiers 4-1. This was sort of an expected win for Italy, just based on our metric, the TAR system. Uh, they lost to USA Condor 4-1. Again, kind of an expected loss. Again, based on our rating system. Where it gets interesting is in round 3, Italy Phoenix took on Finland Hyasul and won 4-1. And this was a bit of an upset in terms of the overall. So let's get into it. On the Italy Phoenix side, or in match 1, we had a winter core off and a Vilcool off. It was 2 fronts was the round strategy. Vilcool on the Finnish side, taking it for the only win for Finland this round via scenario 6 scenario points to 2, 17 army points to 24 army points for Italy, respectively. Then Italy just comes alive. Harus takes down Calder in the Storm Legion matchup, wins via scenario 6-1. 47 army points for Harusk, 49 for Calder. Dusk taking down Krix Kythos via scenario, 29 scenario points to 77, or sorry, 29 to 27 scenario points for Kythos, Dusk winning via scenario for the Italians, Moraine over Kythos. 77 army points to 58 army points for Kythos. In the 4th game, we had the Italians winning via scenario with Old Umbry over Shadowflame Shard. Casters not recorded. Tisk, tisk, tisk. 9 control points for Old Umbry and the Italians, 4 for Shadowflame Shard. 36 army points for Old Umbry, 0 for Shadowflame Shard. In the final game, Storm Legion winning over Moraine and Dusk for the finish. 9 scenario points to 3. 54 army points for Kane 4 to Moraine's 26 army points. Fantastic job by the Italians over the finish in this 3rd round match. And so for their efforts in round 4, the Italians were rewarded handsomely with Australian kookaburras, who also outrated them, and Italy was able to win this match 3-2. So let's get into the games and the selections here. Storm Legion, Wolf into Gravediggers Vargas for the Kookaburras. In this one, we are on best laid plans. Win via scenario for the Italians, 8-5. 52 army points for the Italians, 10 for the Gravediggers and the Australians. In the second match, it was Winter Corps into Necrofactorium for the Australians. Winter Corps on Savron and Necrofactorium on Aviserys. This was a win on Deathclock for the Italians and Winter Corps. 18 scenario points to 17, 45 army points to 32 army points. A Deathclock win for the Italians. The Australians striking back in the Harusk, the Sea Raiders Harusk, versus Old Umbry Lesnoy game. Lesnoy and Old Umbry and the Australians taking the win via assassination. No scenario points to 1 scenario point, 10 army points to no army points. Harus going down to Lesnoy. Then in the decider, we had a dusk off. Tyrus into Moraine. Tyrus for the Italians, taking down Moraine via concession. Three scenario points to 2, 33 army points to 14. And then in the final match, it was Old Umbry, Yana into Shadow Flame Shard Shirus. Shirus winning via assassination. 8 control points to 5, 32 army points to 17. But it is the Italians taking the round 3-2, cementing themselves with a winning record at the WTC at that point. And then getting the privilege of taking on Poland Ard. They played Poland Ard very, very tightly, 3-2. Poland Ard able to pull it out and end the Italy Phoenix's run, but an 11-point differential based on tar. So just wanted to bring this to you all. I had some listeners ask me some questions about this, and it led me down a path where I built out uh, this data, looking through it, and it's been fun to go through and work with. Um, I hope you all enjoy this episode, take it for what it is, which is just a thought experiment based on an arbitrary metric. It's kind of like playing some fantasy baseball, um, but it's a fun thought experiment. It's some interesting data. Do with it what you will. And I appreciate you listening. Please like and subscribe, and we'll get back to you in the next one. I will be talking with members of Team USA Condor, answering some listener questions along with some questions that I myself have. And I'm sure we'll be talking some data and likely the data that they used going into their prep. So appreciate y'all and have a great and safe week.